Right off the bat, the internet seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. No illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking gun that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away, and that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, that is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family. Oh.
Earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business. I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that. See, when I see you do a clip and you go to church, and I watch you write a check for $1 million in front of the congregation, and you give it to this man, was that for the congregation to give more money? Or was that really genuine?
She's so fierce.
See, when no one's watching, who are you? So when everyone's watching, and we got a chance to see when no one was watching.
Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them.
First person to pay Taraji P. Henson the most money she's ever made. And then we said, but did you pay her fairly? And then he said, I paid her more than she's ever made. What does that mean, brother?
Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. He says, you know, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his...
He was Hollywood's quiet storm, beloved, drama-free, and deeply respected. So how does a man like Malcolm Jamal Warner end up dead in a foreign country under circumstances that keep changing by the hour? Why are Mo'Nique and Katt Williams pointing fingers, and why is Tyler Perry's name being whispered behind closed doors? This isn't just a tragedy. It's a puzzle laced with power, silence, and secrets. And once you hear what's been uncovered, you'll never look at Malcolm's death or Tyler Perry the same way again. Just when the world began to accept Malcolm Jamal Warner's death as nothing more than a heartbreaking accident, Katt Williams and Mo'Nique stepped forward with a narrative that shook everything up. Known for their no-holds-barred approach to exposing the industry's dark secrets, the two comedians are now suggesting that Malcolm's death wasn't as straightforward as it seemed, and they're naming names. According to them, Tyler Perry, who publicly honored Malcolm with a touching memorial reading, may not have been as innocent as he appeared. Rumors are swirling that the tribute was nothing more than a carefully staged distraction. Mo'Nique and Katt, who have publicly criticized Tyler for years, claim he once tried to involve Malcolm in questionable industry activities. Malcolm reportedly refused, wanting no part in the backdoor deals or hidden agendas, and now, some are wondering if that decision put him in harm's way. And just before Malcolm Jamal Warner could expose Tyler Perry, he mysteriously died in a foreign country. Y'all better sit up for this one, because the details are about to rattle you. By now, most people know the official story. Malcolm drowned just days ago, while swimming with his 8-year-old daughter on a beach in Costa Rica. His daughter nearly drowned too, but was rescued by a nearby surfer. Malcolm, however, was pulled from the water by a volunteer lifeguard. And despite immediate CPR efforts, it was already too late. The forensic pathology department later confirmed that his cause of death was asphyxiation by submersion, labeled as an accidental drowning. But with everything else swirling behind the scenes, some folks aren't buying the accidental part.
TMZ is now reporting that Malcolm Jamal Warner's death, which was initially called accidental drowning, was due to a high current in the ocean while on a family vacation. Initially, TMZ simply reported that they had an unconfirmed but reliable source saying that he simply died of accidental drowning, no other detail. Right off the bat, the internet seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. But in this case, it seems like there's no foul play, no drugs, no illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away, and that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, That is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family. Oh.
Now, you'd think the autopsy confirmation would be enough to put all suspicions to rest that Malcolm Jamal Warner truly died from accidental drowning and nothing more. But instead, it did the exact opposite. The report only added fuel to an already raging fire. People started picking apart every detail, questioning the timing, the location, and even the lack of surveillance footage from the beach. For many, it wasn't closure, it was a cover-up.
Fall.
The hour, a star from The Cosby Show has died.
Malcolm Jamal Warner drowned yesterday while on vacation with his family.
You see, in the days leading up to Malcolm's death, whispers were already swirling about tensions between him and a major industry powerhouse. Though he never named names, many insiders believe he was referring to Tyler Perry. Just before his passing, Malcolm gave an interview where he revealed that a well-known figure had offered him a lucrative movie role, but there was a catch. Accepting it would have meant compromising his values, doing things he wasn't comfortable with. He hinted that this wasn't the first time such an offer had come his way. In fact, he claimed to have turned down millions of dollars over the years, not just from this one individual, but from several powerful producers across the industry.
Of coming out the gate with Cosby, which put me in a position where, and because I've always had a good team around me, I've always been in a position where I've had the luxury of being meticulous about the kind of roles that I choose. My mom was really instrumental in getting me to understand the concept of longevity, the concept of being versatile within this business, because she would always say, if you look at anyone in this business who's had longevity, there are times when they've been hot and times when they've not been hot. You have to decide what you're going to do during those times when you're not hot, so you're not making desperate acting choices. I've been fortunate enough to I've always had the financial wherewithal to be meticulous about the kind of work that I do. So I have a body of work that I will never have to be embarrassed by. There may be some work I might be embarrassed because I might have been whack, but there's nothing in my body of work that I'll ever have to be embarrassed in that I misrepresented my people, or I have continued to perpetuate stereotypes of our people. I've been very fortunate to be able to, pick and choose. I've never had to take a role that I felt would compromise my soul.
At first, people didn't think much of Malcolm's comments, but after his passing, the dots started connecting fast. Many began speculating that the unnamed industry figure he referenced was Tyler Perry. What made the theory even louder was the timing. Just as Malcolm did that interview, Tyler was hit with a jaw-dropping lawsuit from actor Dixons, actor from one of his shows, who accused him of sexual assault and blackballing him after rejecting unwanted advances. Derek is now suing Tyler for $260 million and even included alleged messages from Tyler that raised serious eyebrows. According to the lawsuit, Tyler once pulled down Derek's underwear, groped him, and whispered, "Relax, just let it happen," while assuring him it wouldn't hurt. Derek says he managed to avoid the situation by awkwardly changing the subject. And if that wasn't enough, Christian Keys had already posted a cryptic message months earlier hinting at similar behavior. He didn't name Tyler outright, but he left just enough clues for people to put two and two together.
Speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience, what I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. This person was for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. Not just women that have to deal with it, but it's also men sometimes, and it'll be men tempting men. I was like, well, I gotta protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work. So I started recording. So I have them offering me money to take my clothes off. I have recordings when I wasn't working with them or for them. I have recordings of them confessing that, the other guys that they have on the payroll, all of the above.
And while we're on the topic of Christian Keys, the tension between him and Tyler seemed to escalate quickly. Just days after Derek Dixon filed his lawsuit, Christian made a public statement saying he was pulling his show from Bette and Tyler Perry's network, citing behind-the-scenes sabotage. The timing raised eyebrows. Fans immediately suspected he was alluding to Tyler, trying to blackball him, to possibly as retaliation for not giving in to the same disturbing advances others had warned about. The implications were heavy, and the whispers in the industry only grew louder.
In transparency, it is disappointing to continuously find out that your show is coming back on the internet instead of finding out from the network. And I've mentioned that in previous seasons, and it's still happening. Or to see the trailer online and have to go search for the trailer so I can try to download the trailer for the hit show that I created for this studio and this network, instead of getting it sent when everybody else is getting theirs. It does feel dismissive and disrespectful when it continues to happen and you've addressed it and it still happens. So at this point, I do not believe that the prequel series that I've written and the spin-off show, any prequel or sequels, I do not believe I'll be doing them with BET. Whether you noticed or not, season 2, my Created by credit was removed. And I asked to get it back and they said no. And I ended up having to call the WGA, call the union to force the studio to give me my credit back that I had earned. I created this 15 years ago and I've been working on it for 15 years. I think God gave it to me because he knew I was gonna protect it, and I will. But some things, these things gotta change. In the prequel and sequel space, unfortunately, there are going to be a few personnel changes. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, where some people get entitled or arrogant and unprofessional and, start coming to work high and inebriated on a regular basis, or start saying whatever they want to when the camera's rolling, and disrespectful ad-libs and things. And those things will be addressed. So there may be some personnel changes, but the show will go on.
Initially, no one really linked Malcolm to the controversy surrounding Tyler Perry, mainly because the two had never been publicly associated or seen interacting. But that changed quickly when Tyler hosted a private memorial table reading at his studios, inviting the cast of Read Between the Lines, a show Malcolm had starred in. What many took as a respectful tribute raised suspicions for others. Whispers began circulating that this so-called gesture might actually be a smokescreen. The timing felt off, especially as that resurfaced interview of Malcolm admitting he'd turned down millions from a well-known producer began gaining traction. People started to piece things together, and the dots were painting a darker picture. Now, let's be clear, no one's outright saying Tyler Perry is behind Malcolm's death. What's circulating online is speculation, not confirmed fact. But the reason folks are even entertaining the possibility: Tyler's track record. He's long been accused of playing dirty when he doesn't get his way, and Mo'Nique and Katt Williams haven't been shy about calling it out. Mo'Nique has been especially vocal ever since her fallout with Tyler, Oprah, and Lee Daniels over Precious. According to her, she was paid just $50,000 for her lead role, far below industry standard, but she didn't complain because it was the deal she agreed to. The real issue started when Tyler and Oprah allegedly pushed her to travel internationally for press completely unpaid. Mo'Nique refused, citing that it wasn't part of her contract, and that refusal, she claims, cost her everything. From that point on, her career took a nosedive, and she's held Tyler publicly responsible ever since.
You had difficult demands.
I want to address it for the order that it went in. And when Mr. Daniels say I had these demands, it shocked me because I was saying to the screen, Dawn, please ask him what the demands were. And actually, there were no demands. There was a request from the movie studio, and they called and requested that I fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival. I simply said I respectfully declined, because if you can remember, at the time, there was a talk show called The Mo'Nique Show. I was doing a comedy tour. I was actually in the award season of the awards, and I'm also a wife, and I'm a mommy. So when they called, I had a couple days just downtime. I wanted to spend that with my husband and my kids. So when we said we respectfully declined, the movie studio called back again. And they said, okay, well, we'll upgrade her hotel room. And my husband simply said again, we respectfully decline. She's gonna take this time with her family.
Yeah.
Well, when the third call came and they said, what is it gonna take to get Mo'Nique to France, to the Cannes Film Festival? And my husband said, is there a number associated with it? And they said, oh, we would never pay for anyone to do any promotions for a movie. And we said we understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend.
Yeah. But
So
you're saying that because you didn't have the money to do this on your own. Is that what you're saying? That you needed to feed your family and pay your bills?
I think that's what America says.
Yeah.
I think we all say, I can't do it for free.
Right.
So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Mo'Nique is being demanding and she's being difficult. They had a request, we simply had a request, and they said they couldn't do it, and we said we understood. That was it. So Tyler Perry says to me, listen, you may really want to consider promoting this film, because if you get nominated for an Oscar award, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. I said, Tyler, who you talking to? I'm a black woman. Where do they pay those type of salaries, brother? I said, what I cannot do, Tyler, is work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I cannot go overseas and do this for free, Tyler. So then he goes on about his spiel, you know. I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not gonna do it for free. He says, well, I don't believe in giving money away for free. I said, I don't believe in working for free, so we're on the same page.
Now, when it comes to Katt Williams, he's never been one to mince words, especially not about Tyler Perry. Katt has publicly criticized Tyler for using his influence to emasculate black men on screen, portraying them in ways that don't reflect who they are. One of the most telling examples came from actor and voice coach Brandon J. Brandon revealed that during his time on Meet the Browns, Tyler originally cast him as Jeffrey, a bullied, overweight high schooler, but at the last minute, Tyler allegedly changed the character, deciding Jeffrey would now be gay and have a crush on another student. Brandon said he felt deeply uncomfortable with the switch, but Tyler reportedly threatened to fire him if he didn't comply. With his job on the line, Brandon went along with it. In his own words, filming Meet the Browns became the most stressful and hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I had no idea how intense Tyler Perry Studios would be until I got there. Unlike regular network shows that take a full week to film a single episode, Tyler's team shoots everything in just one day. I was cast as Jeffrey, a chubby high school kid who was smart and often bullied. I spent 2 to 3 days memorizing the entire script and came to set completely prepared. On the day of filming, we started with a table read. I knew all my lines and was confident. Then the director, Alfonso Ribeiro-Yes, Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, began blocking scenes, showing us where to stand and how to move. That's when things started to take a turn. Perry walks in, and everything shifts instantly. We run through the entire episode for him, thinking we're good, but he hates it. Suddenly, I'm being told I have to learn a brand new script, right there on the spot. Tyler starts rewriting the entire episode while we stand there, and he's feeding me my new lines as we go. The director is off to the side, giving me that look like, you better just go with it, because if you don't, you're getting fired. Then it all went left. In the middle of all the changes, Perry says, I want Jeffrey to be gay now, and he's got a crush on his bully. That wasn't the character I auditioned for. The backlash was immediate. People started accusing Tyler of being on the down low and projecting his own stuff onto Brandon by forcing that storyline. Katt Williams didn't hold back, he doubled down on the accusations, claiming the only reason Tyler Perry plays Madea so convincingly is because he can't play a real man on screen to save his life. And if you've seen the new Madea movie, well, Folks online are saying Tyler looked way more natural in the wig and dress than he ever has playing a masculine role. But don't get it twisted, that's not my opinion. That's what the streets are saying. Katt was loud with it too. He told everyone on set, "I'm on the radio. I'm with Steven. Everybody knows me." He wanted it known. And the way he put it, Tyler's behavior back then was so over the top, so blatant, that even Hollywood, known for turning a blind eye, had never seen anything quite like it in over 100 years. Katt Williams went even further, claiming Tyler Perry was so extreme in his behavior that he personally added a clause in his contract stating he wouldn't work with Ricky Smiley again unless Ricky wore a dress. Sure enough, Ricky's next film, First Sunday, featured him in exactly that. According to Katt, that's the only time Ricky is a believable actor. He argued that both Ricky and Tyler can't convincingly play male roles, but they excel at portraying women, adding that the best actor should simply get the best role, regardless. While there's still no confirmed evidence linking Tyler Perry to Malcolm's death, the internet continues to speculate, especially as Mo'Nique and Katt Williams keep resurfacing disturbing allegations about Tyler's behavior. The public isn't letting up, and the whispers are only getting louder. One commenter said, "I think Malcolm was eliminated. The story kept changing every 5 minutes. I immediately thought this was no accident." Another added, "It's been reported that a neurological drug was found in his system that shut down his muscles, making it hard to escape." Someone else claimed he was seen drinking from a bottle just before entering the water, and now that bottle is mysteriously missing. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened with Malcolm Jamal's suspicious drowning in a foreign country? And do you believe what Mo'Nique and Katt Williams are saying? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to click here to watch this next messy deep dive.